Okay, so in this episode, we'll talk about the mouth. And last episode, we talked about open and close. And this time, we're going to do the shaping of it, deforming of it. So for my character, as you can see, in the mouth deform perimeter, from 0, I actually add 3 points. Usually I do 3 points. And between -1 and 0, it basically doesn't change because for my character, her normal state and her unhappy state or her angry state where she needs to have a unhappy mouth, she would be the same as normal state because that's her. She basically is sort of sulky all the time and a little bit of complaint. It's that kind of personality, and that's why there's no normal state differences between -1 and 1. But for you guys, if you have a normal smile at 0, then you -1 would be sort of this upset face right now, and whereas 0 should be normal, and then you have a wide smile at +1. So that's probably gonna be your case. I might talk about that kind of normal case later on after my whole series, but for now we're gonna do just we're gonna add 3 points for sure, but then from 0 to negative there won't be any difference, and 0 to positive there will be a widening, so a shape deform happening there. Now one thing to correct from last episode, I mentioned that everything should be under mouth deform transformers control, and mouth deform transformer is under mouth transformer, which means that mouth transformer, we did this already, which follows the face, the turn, that's fine. But mouth deformer, originally I say that it's supposed to do the widening or narrowing of your lips. That is incorrect, and we can still have it around. If that really happens to be useful, you can do some changes to it, but for now we're just gonna ignore it. And in my case, I could just simply move everything, correct all the materials to mouth transformer. Yes. Now let's give it a look. Let's change everything to mouth transformer and just skip completely the mouth deform transformer, and it should work still fine. Alright, so that's what I'm doing. I'm changing everything directly under mouth transformer, and everything else is child, and mouth deformer we can just delete it, doesn't matter. Alright, so we get this out of the way, and what we're doing this time, we are giving this y-axis and x-axis action here at the perimeter. So as you can see, I can run around this in circle in this area, in the zone, and my mouth would change accordingly like that. Seems okay? So if we break down into the normal 2 lines, there's this narrow to wide and different forms. So there's close, narrow to wide, narrow, wide, open up, narrow, wide, half open, narrow, wide. So that is what we're doing today. So I'm gonna lock this finished one, and I'm gonna work on a version that we left off with. So this is my mouth 2. I'm gonna choose select everything and get them back to mouth 2 transformer, and so I can take away the deformer. Alright, so we got that, and now select all of them, shift select, and then mouth deform, click on it, and add 3 points. So -1, 0, and +1. Press OK. There you go. You have the 3 points, and it shouldn't affect anything now because you just added them. I assume that you shouldn't have anywhere else affecting things with this parameter. So we got this. We see a lot of green dots for each of them. So you can select each piece. You will start to see a lot of green dots. Alright, so originally we already have 5, now we add 3 more, so now it's totally 8. And this is the hassle part. We need to do 1, 2, 3, but also for each point down here. So you got 5 dots in mouth open. You need to do things 5 times, technically. Some of them aren't really adding more work because they're just, you know, perhaps this dot and this dot basically act the same, so it's somewhat repetitive, but however you still need to do them 5 times somewhat. Alright, so let's get into it. Let's start with this piece. This piece is the mouth lips, upper lips, so this corner here, which means that it's not the red inside, it's not the side vertical ones, and it's not the bottom one, so it's just upper lip up here. Alright, so let's turn off everything and go. We can open. We can turn up the bottom part. Right, so we are doing the upper piece, and we select upper piece. We select the green dot we want, and now we need to do. Let me think. Mouth deform. Alright, like I said, from -1 to 0, we don't do anything. So we just need to do +1. Go to +1. And slowly look how this deforms, or this opens, right? So we got from here, nothing, and starting to move up from here to here. Let's see again. For mouth open, 0 to 0.5, nothing changes at all for the upper lips. That's only lower lips moving, but upper lips don't move. And then as soon as it reaches, what is this, 0.55, it moves a little bit, and 0 and 1.0, it moves high up. I don't think I need 0.55 for this then. I mean, it's just on proportion, right? Yeah, there's no opacity changes, so I don't really need this dot. So I'm going to take out 0.55 for this piece particular, for upper piece. You still see the gray dot because some other piece has that point, but for this point, it's just moving according to the proportion of 0%, 100% within this range. We don't need that, so we can take that out, which means we can do one less dot. Right? So we need this point, or we need all points. When mouth deform is 1.00, we need the upper lip to widen up, so almost like she is happy. She's happy when her mouth is closed, she's happy when her mouth is wide open, so let's do that. So let's get to the points. This is 1.0 and this is 0. And now we can work on things. We don't have a lot of dots. We don't have a lot of anchor points. Like you can see, nothing is touching the shape of the lip. Do we need them? Maybe yes, maybe not. For my case, probably not. I'm gonna hit click. So I'm holding down my left click right now. I'm holding down on the Alt key. And then I'm gonna stretch towards the right side. So I'm gonna pull and drag. And there. You zoom out. Now what happened is that it widens up. So she's preparing for her smile. That's the case right now. It's a little bit unbalanced, so I'm gonna drag this side a little bit further. Maybe if I do this, that looks a little bit better. Now it distorts a little bit, as you can see. It's sort of it's getting a blurry. It's a little bit pixelated. If you add anchor points and you do dot by dot transforming, like what I teach in other lessons, in particular with the eyes, which I use with, that would save a little bit of distortion. It's not gonna be perfect, but there's a better way. Well, there's an alternate method I used in my past project, but I'm gonna bring them out later when I teach about patching. Anyways, we're gonna stick with it right now. So it might look a little bit blurry, distorted, but let's go with it. you can probably follow my previous method to make it a little bit more refined. So I'm gonna maybe I'll just add more points. If you don't feel enough, obviously you can always add points here. So add 3 points here, and oops, and then get to this point, add 3 points here, probably here, and you can just automatically generate them. Or I can, use my traditional method to do this, and this, and that. Maybe I'll generate. Yep, that's probably fine. That's okay. Now I can push in the blurry outline. What it does is sort of add retrieve a little bit of refinement right there, a little bit of control. Probably when you zoom out, it doesn't look as bad, and when the mouth is moving fast, it wouldn't be that apparent. And it's probably because I have this kind of shape, like this upside down shape. If it's a smile, it's easier for most cases. So hopefully that works for you. So you get my point. This is sort of what you're doing right now. You stretch it out, and now go to select the part. Make sure you're selecting it, and progress to the next point on mouth open. Like I said, you need to do it 5 times. This from okay. So mouth open at 0.2. It's still not moving at all. In fact, I don't know why I even have this. I mean, from 0.2 to 0.4 to 0.5, it's the same anyway, so I don't really need this point because nothing is changing. How about I just take this point out for mouth for upper lip? Yep, so everything is still the same except that 0.5 obviously we need to work on the same thing. We need to stretch it out. Yes. Alright, so let's do that again. Repeat what we just did. Left click on the side, and then press alternate and drag it out. And make sure it is as close as possible the last one you just did. Now we're seeing a little bit too much, so we're gonna drag it back in. That seems fairly okay, except that we need to start doing the squishy. So let's push it in. Let's take away part of those blurry lines. Yep. Now that, maybe that. It's a bit blurry over here, so I'm going to shift this over to balance things out. Push it in, and let's see how it goes. It seems like there's a little bit movement, there's a little bit stretching, so still I'm going to move it back a little bit in. That's probably close enough. There. So if you see between the 2 points, you want them to be identical as possible. Now alternatively, there's another way to duplicate the point. In this particular case, I want it to be completely identical. How do we do? Can we copy and paste? Can we duplicate? Can we clone? Yes, in this case, not. There's one method that may not apply for every case, but in this case, it probably works. So what do you do here? We have the middle point, and this point is supposed to anchor between 0 to 0.5. There should not be any changes for the upper lip. It changes for lower lip and other parts, but not upper lip. So what we gotta do here is that we just want these 2 points to be identical and hold the spot. And beyond this point, it will start moving upwards, all right? This is a function of it. How do we take out the middle point and duplicate the first one so that we don't have to double the work? Let's try this. Let's go to mouth. Let's take out the middle point, press OK. The problem with taking out is that now from 0 to 1, the upper lip functions scales up from 0% to 100% like that. And suppose I want to lock down half of it. Now the full one is gonna start animating. So that's not what I needed. That's why I must have the middle point. How do you duplicate a point? All right. As far as I know, this is the method. Right click. All right. So click the piece you want. Right click the green dot and press adjust. Change the original value from 0.0 to 0.5 to the point that we need it to duplicate. Now the problem with that, everything disappears, like the upper lip disappears at the from 0 to 0.5, the first half. It's because it has no point, so it has no existence. The original point shift up to halfway, and there's missing 1 point. Now we gotta put that back. We gotta put it back in. So, soon as we put that back in, it will duplicate the closest point. So I'm guessing, or if it's not in betweener, it will just take the closest point, which is 0.5. If there's a point all the way here, so it's in betweener, it will just take the point where this animation stops at. So if you look at this is 0.75, and this is in between 0.5 and 1, and if you add a point here, then it will just take this current shape, this current state. All right, but if there's none of them, it will just take the closest one. So now we sort of duplicate it and make them identical. All right, so this is one way to, I guess, one pseudo way to hack it, but I wouldn't say it works all the time. And luckily for this case, it works. I can also check other forms of the mouth. Yep, it's functioning fine. Everything's identical in between these, and we have reached our purpose. So that's that. That's one way to cheat the points out. Anyways, we still haven't done the top mouth. So when it's open, and we have a look, all right. When the mouth is open, the upper lip has not been widened up yet, and we need to work that right now. So select the piece, go to maximum on both, and let's widen the mouth. Probably like this much, maybe. So we can see the changes from 0.5 to 1. It rises up, and the width is about the same, so it's perfect. Now we can refine it a little bit by pushing up the blurry lines. We don't like something that blurry, all right? So that's too much. So a little bit would make a lot of difference. Make sure you don't turn it into like a curve or anything. So it's still somewhat proportional straight line. And that probably will do. Looks like weird now, but it's okay, because after we've done each part, it will be perfect. Now, lower lip, unfortunately, it needs to have all those 5 points. So you'll be doing this point 5 times, and if you have another form, then you need to add extra 5 times. I'm sorry, this is really hideous, but yes, you need to go through this. If there's a better method, there is a somewhat better method, but it requires more drawing. So in short, the other way to do this is to draw all 3 forms of your lips. So you draw a normal state, which is this one. You draw the open and you draw the wide open. Alright, that's done. And then you redraw another version with this state and close and half open, wide open. And then do another one if it's a big smile or it's different mouth or a sort of like a rage mouth or anything like that, or sad crying mouth. For each form, you can draw a different version. And what this line does is switching in between them. Now, how to do that, it's a little bit tricky. Maybe you can guess it out, or maybe you can see my previous tutorials to learn it. But I'll get to those eventually. However, this is a traditional way to do things. You're supposed to have 3 points for deform. It's sad, normal, and happy. And then for mouth open, you have close, half, and wide open. So 3 by 3, 9 points. 9 points per piece, and so 9 times 6, so 54 times you need to work things if you have like 6 pieces. For the official samples, I think they may have only like 3 or 4 pieces to work on. That's why the workload is much more reasonable. How do they do that? Well, I've double checked them. They actually have the upper covering piece. So if I close the mouth, oh yeah, I deform it too. Did I? If I close the mouth, now you can see, remember, like I said, your inner red piece, it's always fully opened. What covers it is an extra piece right here. If I turn off the face, where's my face? There's my face. Alright, so you have a white piece that is, or skin piece is covering the parts that is not needed. What the official sample did, this piece, the white piece and the upper lip, it's actually the same material or the same piece. For the lower part and lower lip is also the same, and that's why they cut down at least 2 layers already. That saves a ton of workload. Do you want to do that? Probably you do. It's unlikely you run into a problem. So yes, this may have been a mistake. I should have them as one piece instead of 2 separate ones. It gives more flexibility, but for most cases not needed. So why having them separate and more workload, right? So since that we don't have a transformer to control the mouth deform, now we have a ton of workload. We have 3 times 5 times 6 times to do all the mouthpiece. Luckily, you know, just because we have these 2 points completely identical, so we cut down by a tons. Now it's just 2 by 3 or 2 by 5 by 6 approximately, which also is safer already. But anyhow, if you're not in a hurry to make professional products, right, might as well do them. It's not really a lot of, it sounds like a lot, but it's not really a lot of time. Maybe just tops another hour. So don't worry about it. Just do one by one. And after all, I mean, like I showed you the complete one right here. All right, at the beginning of the video, I showed you a complete one, and it's been completed anyways. And in my memory, it wasn't too bad. Or I would have completely like scrapped this or scrapped the last episode and do it over. But obviously, it wasn't that much a workload. So just do that. You know, just do each part, widen them up, refine the lines, and do the form for each opening. All right. So the close shape, open up little, half, and open wide. All right. So 3 to 5 points on this side, and then do it multiple, or just did the last one. So you just do it in one time. So basically 3 to 5 different versions for each piece. That's how much you're gonna do for this episode. All right. So I'm not gonna do all of them. I don't think there's anything adding to it. The rest of the part is just the tricky part is just trying to refine them, because each piece has a little bit trouble with refinement. They might distort a little bit as you stretch them. Otherwise, it should be fine. I can talk about the center, the side verticals. All right. So where is it? This piece? Let me open it out. Let me open my mouth. And I want to know if it's a side piece. Nope, that's not this one. This one, not this one. It's this one. All right. So these two lines here. Now they are exceptionally distorted by your widening. All right. So let's go ahead and do it. We'll stretch them up. They're slightly even off the center too. So like you see in the center, there's a lot of blurry happening right there, and it's very obvious. You cannot just ignore it. So what I did in between episodes, I add more points here. You see, I add these points, add the blurry parts, the blurry pixels, these points here. And what I want to try to do is just protect the center solid part so I can push in the side parts. All right. So like as you can see here, all I need to do, push this, and push this. Push, or I can select this part, or select this part, something all over the place. Or I can control select them, I mean shift, yes, and then just drag them in. Shift select, and drag them in. And there might be, why is there a little dot here? There might be a little bit overstretching. Or the other side is sort of squished. I can simply, just give a little bit more space to breathe, and that's good enough. Why is there a dot here? It's not controlling anything. Probably a mistake. And I don't want to waste too much time here, so I'm just gonna leave it like that. But you get the idea, right? You just sort of drag those part in. If it's still not enough, like right now you can still a little bit blurry. It wouldn't be so bad as you like if you have this red piece cover up. So red piece, wide up please. Alright, so if you cover up the part, you don't see the blurry too bad. It might give a little shading, so it feels like there's depth to it. That's fine too, so I wouldn't worry about too much. Just drag these open to cover up the red piece, like that. Simple. Alright, move them around. And if you need dots, just put them in, refine the part so it doesn't blur, it doesn't bleed or anything. And that's about that. Just do it 5 times and that's done. So it's not terribly fine. Obviously there are better ways to do things, but for now let's go with the traditional. Alright. There you go. So basically I just did the 5 pies. Alright. So yeah, that was really quick. I just did all of them. That's all. I thought I was gonna skip them, and now I have them all in. So yeah, let's zoom out and have a look. And it's somewhat completed. You see a little bleeding here. Just figure out how to. Oh yeah, we haven't done the middle part. So perhaps when it's half open, it's not done yet. So just do it for the pieces. But if you see a bit bleeding, just jump in there and fix them. It shouldn't be too much work, and it's a good practice. All right. So we have those. This mouthpiece should be done by the end of it. You should have like my sample right here. Oh yeah, and if you don't see this zone, this square zone here, remember, just click on the blue box at the side of it. Click it, and you'll open it up, and they'll link you between the two and give you this this box here. You can play around with it. You can turn your head and have a look. Yeah, that needs to be fixed a little bit. That would work with the mouse transformer. So mouse transformer, I'm gonna push this in. Why isn't it controlling anything? Oh, that's the different one. Actually needing this one. I'm gonna lock this, turn this open, and now you sort of get the idea, right? So you can use the transformer to transform it, and perhaps this is a part where you may need a mouth deform transformer just to handle the shaping, to refine the shaping with the deformer, with the waffle. All right, because currently it's it's a little bit too big for the size. It's not really having a lot of effect. It might give a general effect, which is not what we want. But otherwise, we can do it like this. Yeah. Yeah, it's not going too well with this tool, so I'm just gonna back a step. But there might need some refinement over here. I'm just gonna say for now. Alright, so maybe I'll play around with it, maybe not. And if you really have trouble doing this part, just let me know. I'm gonna explore this this progress, but otherwise it shouldn't be. I'm guessing most of you should be okay with it. So go check its parts, go check the head, and that doesn't work out well. Anyways, so check around, move your head around and see if it works for all the shapes. You know, talk a bit, move over here, talk a bit, or even tilt your head, talk a bit. You know, see if everything's going well. Some parts here are bleeding through the face colors, like here, like this little angle here, and we can fix that. And that's about it. It's a lot of hideous work. I'm not gonna show them all in the video, but if you watch the earlier episode, you know what to do because you're good enough now. Anyways, keep up the good job, and I'll see you guys next episode.